What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Kamen Riders. This is a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode number 15. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. Merry Christmas, Toby.
Yeah, it's going to be that time for those kind of people when this episode comes out.
Those kind of people being people that celebrate Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so happy holidays to everyone, whatever you celebrate, or if you celebrate anything. I think that this episode is going to come out on Christmas Day, which is
if you have that drive, then more power to you. Or if you have that time before everything here.
Because usually here's how the week breaks down for me. Typically we record on Monday, and then Tuesday/Wednesday I edit, and then post it for Thursday morning. So that'll work out again the same way this week, which means that when we post it on Thursday, it'll be Christmas.
And then we can also do Happy New Year's next year.
Exactly. Which
or
means
next week, whatever.
which means well I guess we'll talk about that too. But that means this is the Christmas episode of the Kamen Riders, which means we have to kill somebody off, I think.
So someone has to die, as per the worst tradition of any episode that we've ever watched.
It's you, me, or our recording robot Craig. One of us has to go.
It's gonna be Craig. I've never liked him.
I'm gonna hold Craig crying in the rain and hold his lifeless body as the ones and zeros fade out. And that's our sad Christmas episode, I guess.
Sweet.
R.I.P. Craig. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll keep it short. Do you have a favorite Christmas song that you hear on the radio all the time? Just one.
So I don't like Christmas music that much. So we have curated a Christmas playlist that we have shared on our Spotify in our family of like songs that I actually do like, but they're weird ones. So they're not necessarily ones you'd hear on the radio. But there is, I'll give you an album as a suggestion, because I like the whole album. But Punk Goes Christmas is the album, and it actually is filled with bangers. Like, it is like front to back, really, really, really good. There is a Real Friends song on there called I Had a Heart that is maybe my favorite Real Friends song. There's a really good New Found Glory song on there. And then, a bunch of others. Like, it's actually like a genuinely good album. So that would be my Christmas music. If I had to sit down and listen to Christmas music, it would be that record that I would put on.
Okay. Like, for the record, there is, at least back when CDs were a thing, there is 6 or 7 punk Christmas comps of that nature. So if you ever want to hook up, you let me know, because they're all on my 20-year-old carried over hard drive.
As far as I'm aware, because like the Punk Goes series, they put out like a million like things in that, right? Punk Goes 80s, Punk Goes 90s, Punk Goes Pop 1 and 2 or whatever. What did they also do? They did a couple acoustic ones. They did like Crunk, I think, was even one. So
Yep.
There've been a bunch of Punk Goes. As far as I'm aware, there's only been the one Punk Goes Christmas, like official one. I'm certain that there are other punk Christmas compilations, but this is the one that actually came from the Punk Goes people.
Yeah.
But yes, if you have more, I would love to hear them.
I used to make specific mixtapes for my own Christmas music, 'cause I never listened to the radio Christmas stuff when I was growing up.
Okay.
But like, I think this is the right one. There's one called A Santa Claus, and it might have been a seasonal thing for a little bit. Like, that one, it doesn't necessarily have like Christmas cover songs. It just has Christmas songs by like punk bands and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So like, I Won't Be Home for Christmas by Blink-182 comes from A Santa Claus, like a 25-year-old album.
Okay.
As an example of a song you probably know. But yeah, so I have a
I
bunch
see
of
that.
those.
I see that Xmas from New Found Glory is on there too.
That's also one of my favorites.
Again, classic song. Yeah.
But yeah, so from all the Christmas music that I'm forced to listen to in the car, and like of all the constantly on the radio songs, I'm going to give you 2 songs, but they're both the same tier of song.
Okay.
But my main favorite one is Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. Do you know what song that is?
I don't think so. I'm Googling it right now.
Okay, so as far as I can tell from the song, they're basically like a lady punk ska band. And it's not so much like them singing a song, it's more just like 2.5 minutes of talking about Christmas sucks. Hey, I wanted to date this guy, but we like fell out of touch. I got sunburned over summer. Oh crap, I burnt the like one of my favorite lines is towards the end. She's like, "Oh no, I forgot the cranberry stuffing." So then she goes to the grocery store and then she runs into the grocery store and she's like, "Wow, you forgot or like you hate Christmas too?" And then they decide to go on a date. And the whole thing's about like how much this year sucks. And at the end she's like, "Wow, this date worked out. Maybe Christmas is okay after all." So I really like that one cuz just like it's basically like spoken word vibed.
All right, sounds good.
So that one's good. You might actually probably like that one.
Yeah, that
And
sounds up
then
my alley for sure.
there's a weird mopey one by Dan Fogelberg that is called Another Auld Lang Syne, or however the hell you say like what the New Year's song is.
Uh-huh.
And that one is like super 70s mopey, almost emo rock of a guy just like pining away for his like lost ex-wife. And then he also like he's like, I went to the grocery store, I ran into her in the chicken aisle or like the deli aisle. Hey, we both had a crappy year. Hey, maybe we should catch up someday, get some coffee, blah blah blah. So I've come to realize in my brain, all the songs aren't really just like a stupid song of like verse, chorus, but are like full storylines about people are all my favorite songs.
Mm. Yeah, I like those too. I'm into that. Uh, I'll say the
The
worst
Waitress's
Christmas
song
song.
is very like pop punk ska.
Yeah, that one sounds great.
Good. The worst Christmas song.
People always talk about how it's really bad, so it's like this isn't a unique thought, but simply having a wonderful Christmas time by Paul McCartney is genuinely terrible. I don't know if you like that one, but it's the simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Like the first verse of that song is what always gets me, where he says the mood is right, the spirit's up, we're here tonight, and that's enough. First of all, there's no rhyme there. He presents it
Well,
like there's a
apparently,
rhyme, but there's no rhyme. And also, why is the lyric just, "Well, we're here, that's enough, hey, that's it, all right, I guess that's fine." That's the first lyric. That's the first verse you wrote. That's insane.
that's the one that people I saw online recently again. Like everyone shits on that song. It's
Yeah,
like
everyone
he was
does.
doing
Yeah.
things by himself, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he got a blah 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 keyboard and went in the studio. And was like, how can I work a song around just pressing keys on this brand new keyboard tech I got?" And then that's how that song came out.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense. Yeah.
on that same tier or vibe of that, um, the John Lennon song "War Is Over." I hate that
Mm,
song. That
yeah,
one's the most depressing one because it's like, so this is Christmas, and what have you done? Maybe next year will be better again, kind of stupid vibe. And
yeah.
that one's just like super mopey downy. And I was like, if this is supposed to be like the hot hype season where you play the fun Christmas songs, that one's depressing as shit. And um, it's like the main Christmas song, but whatever one has the line of like, I have to look it up. There's one of like the one line is like, we'll celebrate as long as we're all together, and like makes you like be mopey about like, oh yeah, as people die, you're not all together anymore.
Oh,
Wish you a Merry
uh,
Christmas.
is it also the one that talks about ghost songs?
Maybe hold
Because
on.
that song's crazy.
I'll have to. Merry Christmas. No. Have yourself a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
Is that the
that
same
one's?
song?
I think so. Let me see. Elf, a merry little Chris. As I Google the lyrics.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah. So the main verse is like, "Here we are in our olden days, happy golden days of yore.
Yeah,
Faithful
that.
friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we will all be together if the fates allow." And as I've gotten older over the years, I've like dwelled on that miserable line more and more. And the song just like bums the fuck out of me.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. If the fates allow. Um, and then there's the song too. That's just like the the urging of the girl, and she keeps saying no repeatedly, which
No,
is
no, we're not.
basically
No,
it's
no,
cold
no.
outside.
We're not going down that rabbit hole because that gets argued both ways, unless you really want to.
It's creepy. That I don't care like what the intention of the song is. My read, knowing nothing more about the song than is in the lyrics, is it's creepy. It's a
You're,
creepy vibe.
you're too young.
What do you mean I'm too young?
Do you remember when it was I forget what year it was. There was one year specifically where everyone was like, "This is the most sexual assaulty song in the history of Christmas."
Yeah.
And I forget who made a version of it, but it wasn't just like, "Hey, we're gonna take out the lines." Like mid song where she's like, "I have to go," and he's like, "No, no, no," and that kind of stuff. They like reworded it so dramatically where it was like, "I'll ask you for your permission for consent if you want to stay here. It's okay if you say no, blah blah blah." And they went so far their direction with it that like I think they did a worse job of trying to prove what they wanted to prove.
Yeah, it's like everyone decided they could be racist against robots, but then they got a little too serious about the robot racism, and you're like, I think you were just really excited about being racist about something. And this was your excuse. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that as a response. But it's songs like that that make Christmas music as a whole kind of be like a groaner for me, just like, ugh, it's this time of year. You're gonna have to listen to these songs. So it's nice to find ones that I actually enjoy listening to. That makes the season a bit more bearable.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas music. It's
Yeah.
almost over.
Speaking of things that make the season more bearable, we have Kamen Rider, Toby. That's another thing that helps out with that. Today on the show, we watched Kamen Rider Zeztz episode 15, and certainly an episode I think that sets us up for the future. Really like kicks off the new arc of Zeztz, and similarly to recent episodes, I think asks more questions than it answers. Really, by the end, but certainly has me kind of excited. And yeah, the other, I guess, interesting part of this is there isn't a new episode of Zeztz next week, so we can decide what we want to do, but there's certainly nothing new to talk about next week. So we're off on. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know. So what was I gonna say? What were you saying? Oh yeah. So it feels like if for sure, like if nothing else, like last week we were saying like I feel like we're getting close to when the arc ends or when
Yes.
the arc is ending. Like did arc 2 start today or not yet? And I would say officially, especially if next week is nothing, like this is 100% the okay, arc 1 of the story is definitely over now.
Yeah. Yeah. The end of this episode especially feels like okay, here we go. Here's the new thing you're going to be looking at for a while. Get excited about the new year. This is the point where like Gotchard was like, things are going to be different. We swear.
Yeah, this is when we had the sisters super special.
Yep.
That was like, hey, guess what? Wink, wink. It's New Year's. Wink, wink. Don't worry. Next, we're coming back different. Don't worry about it. Wink, wink. Over and over and over. So at least I feel like they at least did it better. They did like a natural, like actual show thing, and like did a nice arc for, like the arc just closed nicely. We can definitely see where the delineation is. They did a good job.
Absolutely, yeah. Instead of having to like furiously scramble about how they're going to fix arc 2, instead we sort of get to do like a bit of a victory lap. It feels like Zeztz has been kind of so good through these first 15 episodes that like I'm really excited about things getting a little mixed up and new characters being introduced and stuff. Like it's been a good show so far, so I'm excited to see where they go. But this episode is a continuation of last episode. We're kind of dealing with the origin of Nox, basically, is what we're doing here. And a reminder for everyone, of course, Baku has been in this dream. He's been asleep for a long time now. His sister, of course, is very worried about him. And in his dream, as we open the episode, Baku is back in the command closet, and he kind of is confronting Zero about the nature of code. He asks what code is about, what the mission is, and what it needs of its agents. Zero first tells him that like, oh, our mission is world peace, but then kind of like slumps down in his chair and he's like, all right, it's more of a gray area than that.
Yeah, like I felt like it was the weirdest cop out thing ever. Of obviously there was a lot of drama with him last week, like eliminate the enemy, him mentally, if not completely, being like, no, I don't really think Knox is the problem. Knox seems like he's pitching me some good ideas. I enjoy his newsletter. So like him, like because he came in hot to talk to Zero when he
He did.
said, I need to know what's actually going on here, because Zero was staring at the 4 ring since Zeztz has the 7, and like he got like hit it like, oh, my secret ex-girlfriend letters. And he got, like, I feel like he just got extra. He felt like cornered, so he just gave out the first answer he could think of first of, oh, it's just world peace. It's okay. And it's just like, yeah, it's dark here, man. Got some shit going on.
Yeah, I liked that he like his first answer was like the PR answer, like what he would tell someone who's not, involved, and then he finally was like, yeah, all right, whatever. But yeah, this scene was interesting because you're right, like Baku does come in pretty hot, but then like he sort of lets Zero off pretty easy because Zero tells him like, yeah, it's kind of a gray area. And Baku, kind of doesn't have too many follow-up questions, and then he just goes and gets some of his capsims, and that's kind of it. Like he doesn't, you would think that he would like hold Zero a bit more to the fire about this, but he just kind of like accepts the answers and moves on.
Yeah,
um
I thought it was funny when he was doing the what I'll call the capsum rack. He, I guess because he was so mentally heart-driven motivated, that basically he got to do the thing that we joked about all the way back in the beginning, where he was like, I said when we said like, oh, just keep turning the thing until it stops. I don't know why we're not doing that. If you get a new fun toy every time, just try and max out the machine. And this time, I guess it was a nice way to I guess, pitch the toys at the end. And
yeah.
especially because all of his capsims got blown up or destroyed or de-nightmared by Nox. He got to get like all 10 back, or 8, 9, 10, whatever number we're at. So him setting them up across the top of all the vending machines looked kind of cool. But it also felt very much like a sales pitch of like, collect all 10. Go to your local gacha machine today.
It did feel a bit sales pitchy, but it was one of those awesome like power fantasy moments in shows where it's like, oh, this has been a challenge before, but now he's, we get to see his resolve, and he just gets to like dump this machine out because he's mentally prepared now. And yeah, when he lines them all up in like rainbow color order and stuff, it's cool. That's a cool moment where he just like, yes, I have them all now. Thank you.
And it was funny because one of the first things I thought of, like after he got to do his whole spiel about like, hey, what are we actually doing here? I'm vaguely questioning you if you're actually like a good guy or not, but I'll play it coy because you are some weird robot motorcycle that can murder me. I was thinking about it, and since he was actually back at home base, since he got out of the nightmare black hole and everything else, I'm surprised he didn't wake up sooner to go tell his sister he was okay before he went back into Dreamworld again. Because in my mind, I was like, if you're already right next to your room, I feel like it's an easy 2-second pop in to be like, hey, Minami, like, I'm okay. I have to go back out in the world again, but, I've been sleeping for 36 hours, but I'm awake. We're cool. Don't worry about it. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I guess at that point, he doesn't really know that his sister knows everything. So, like, I guess maybe in his mind, he knows that he thinks that she thinks that he's just been sleeping a lot, but he doesn't know that she's like worried about his safety necessarily. But yeah, it was weird that he hadn't like just wake up for a second and be like, hey, I'm just checking in. Like I'm not dead. Here I am. He also at this point gets that new capsim from Zero. Now that Zero kind of sees that he's got his head straight, he can get all these capsims out. He's ready for this last one, and we see that it's kind of like a white sparkly capsim. So then he's got the full set. He's ready to go. He just went to Toys R Us and he bought everything on the shelf.
He waited in line for his pre-orders, and they finally showed up.
And then Zero tells him to not worry his little sister that much. I was like, screw you, Zero.
What's funny?
Mind your business, man.
But I mean, I guess that's in response to she was mad enough to punch a robot in the face last week.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I guess Zero's trying to find some semblance of humanity with his new action figure to play with, kind of deal.
Yeah, it felt like a weird like human moment for a guy who thinks that these agents are expendable, or we think he thinks that, right? Um, After that, we cut over to Knox, and Knox is having kind of a forced dream of his past, and he sees back to when he was a young agent of code. He's clearly in the middle of a mission, and something's going wrong. We don't really know what, but he's like clearly being chased or something. His driver explodes like off of his chest. Like he tries to like use it to henshin, and it just kind of blows up. And we get to see him call Zero for backup, and Zero tells him, "No backup. You got to finish this alone." Uh, and wishes him good luck.
Yeah,
I thought that was a
which
cool scene here.
it was a good, I guess we'll call it, I mean, obviously it's a flashback thing, but it was a very good way to start setting up, or at least, again, visualizing for us humans of why Nox hates Zero and Code so much. Because I feel like even when, like, Zero was kind of a dick to Baku too, when Baku was down, and he's like, I thought you were good at this. I guess I was wrong. Just kind of turned his back on him.
Yeah, for
And this
sure.
was like a more aggressive vibe of Nox being like, hey, I need help. You sent me here. And Zero being like, oh, figure it the fuck out. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
This is your problem.
Exactly. Yeah, that seems to be Zero's vibe for sure. We do later like very quickly get to see Zero. Like so Baku doesn't bring his like communication device. After this mission, he leaves it in the command headquarters. Zero sees it, and Zero's like, "Ugh, don't mess this up," or whatever. He has a moment where he's like, I hope this kid can handle this. We get to see some other stuff that Nox is, I guess, experiencing in this episode. There's a dark smoke monster, so probably one of those nightmares we saw come out of the capsules before, that tries to attack Nox here, and he swings his sword at it. Pretty quickly, he's kind of moved off into another nightmare, like a different scene, where he is in like a bedroom, and there's like, I don't know, some monster nearby or something like that. It seems like. And then pretty quickly here, Nem walks in on Nox's dream, so she can clearly insert herself in dreams in the same way that he can. And she asks him if he's afraid of the dark. He wants her out, asks her why
He's like,
she's
ha ha
there.
ha. No, that's stupid. You
Yeah.
stupid dream girl. Of course I'm not afraid of the dark. As he's like sobbing, curled up in a ball in the corner.
Yep. Totally. Yeah, he's full on in like little kid mode. He's like curled into a ball, he's crying. So it clearly is like a deep-seated fear, deep-seated nightmare, similar to Baku's and the lightning strike from last time that we found out about. Nem kind of tries to give him a pep talk, talks about like, he needs to he fears two different kinds of darkness, essentially, like the actual darkness and then darkness from like code and from the organization. So it's kind of it's a real fear of your physical surroundings, and it's like a manifested fear from your treatment. Um and Yeah, so that conversation is interrupted because Baku jumps in, essentially. Um Baku says that his mission is to eliminate the enemy. He's here. He's seemingly ready to fight Nox. However, that isn't exactly what happens. Baku, as he's getting ready to henshin, he tells Nox that I hate the bad dream, but not the dreamer, meaning Nox is the dreamer. The dreamer did nothing wrong. So essentially, Baku says he's here basically to take down the nightmare and to protect Nox, which is a cute moment.
Yeah, he goes full ass hero, like hero mode, where even he has the cool speech, like the motivational speech when he does his plasma henshin, and most of his henshin or like suit switches during the fight that's right after this. There's no more like hesitation with him.
Yeah.
Like he drops like the cool badass quote of like, I'll stop the nightmares for you. Like the dreamer's not my fear, or like has a couple of like motivational things to say to Nox of how, no, Nox, I see what the problem is now, we're good. And especially when he started doing the suit switching in general, Like they have it choreoed awesome where it looks fantastic. But even for like how I feel like he used to fight to how he fights now, he's running, popping capsums out, popping new ones in as he goes to switch in time. Like he does he's like very, very good at Kamen Ridering at this point.
Yeah.
Or his heart's in the right place ish enough where he's just going full force. Like, no, I got this, dude. I'll stop the nightmare.
Yeah, the way he's like using capsums and stuff now at this point, he reminds me of someone who's like really good at Tony Hawk. Like I did a grind and I jumped and I did a flip trick and then I manualed over to another grind and then I chained it over to here and then I did a revert coming down off this ramp and then another manual and yeah, it feels like he's just sort of like linking all of his attacks together in a really expert fashion. I really did like his motivational speeches and stuff that he gave here too. I like that he talked about, you can be afraid of the dark, but the dawn's gonna come eventually, and the light's gonna come back, and that was, that was just a surface level, meaningful enough for me, right? It was like symbolism. It wasn't complicated symbolism, but it was good. I was into it.
Yeah, I think like the core of all the speeches and the new vibes today is obviously supposed to be like, especially him, I guess we'll call it protecting Nox, or like the talk with Nox is him, I guess, verbalizing out loud, code might be fucked, but I always wanted to be a secret agent. I think I'm pretty good at this now.
Yeah.
I have my own morality, even if Zero says like, well, the mission's always the most important. Like he's just like full, like I said, he's just full hero at this point. He has the right vibe. He's going strong. He's doing all the right things.
Dude, yes. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like that scene with Zero in the headquarters is exactly that moment where it's like he realizes that what Zero wants out of an agent is not what he wants out of an agent, but he realizes that he can do what he wants himself. Like I can be the agent that I look up to. I can be one of those secret agents that I wanted to be my whole life. And he proves it, right? He goes and gets the capsums. He goes and takes down the bad guy. He handles business in the way that he wants to handle business. It's not destroy Nox, but it's take out the enemy. So yeah, I agree. I think that's awesome moments in this episode that lead to clearly like I'm the hero now type resolve from Baku, which I do really like. We also get to see like he looks cool in this whole fight. So we get to see the plasma version of him again, which again is really sick looking. I love all the visual effects of it. I love the actual suit design itself. But we also get to see a boost form of that suit. So the extra capsum that he gets kind of powers up this plasma form. And once he's completed the transformation, it's basically like it has some extra like colorful things on the arms and legs and stuff.
His rainbow Gotchard.
His rainbow, yeah, exactly. But the actual transformation is amazing because it's as if he's about to explode. Like it feels like there's so much power coursing through him that he can barely hold it together. Because like these boosters kind of come out of his arms and legs and he's like trying desperately to hold them down so they don't pull him apart. And he just sort of has to like live through it while it goes on. And then finally the henshin completes. And I thought that was such a cool representation of how powerful that capsum is. They did a really, really good job on that whole sequence.
Well, especially too, I feel like most of the other seasons recently, when the person gets the overboosted form of themselves, I feel like they have more downtime where, like, I think Geets was sluggish and sleepy. Gav knocked himself out a couple times with it, that kind of shit. Like, they did a good job with, hey, this is kicking Baku's ass, but he still didn't, like, get defeated by it. Because once it started doing, like, the weird short-circuity thing, I was like, oh, okay, like, Plasma's too intense. It's going to just kill him eventually. But they actually didn't do that this time. They did it as, no, it kicks his ass, but, like, he's so driven right now that he can work through it. It's kind of a hint, I guess, of when Nox is like, you don't really know what you're doing with the capsums, like they cause problems. But I think like from like a hero-y standpoint, they made him look way extra badass while still showing like, hey, this is probably beating him up, just so you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. It was a good balance there, I think, between those two things. I think my only negative for this whole fight was that the nightmare was like very inconsequential, right? Like we hadn't really even seen what the nightmare was or knew anything about it up until like literally Baku starts fighting it. And it's this kind of cool eye monster. Like the design of the monster is really cool, but like it didn't matter what it was. And I wish that we would have gotten like a little bit of a hint of like what the monster was that was haunting Nox a little bit earlier. So that way we could actually be like, finally we're taking that thing down instead of like suddenly, a monster appeared. I guess we're fighting it. But that's pretty minor. I'm not super worked up about that, but I just thought that was interesting. It was like, yeah, it's weird the first time we're seeing this guy is right now.
Yeah, and most of seeing him was him getting bounced around
Yeah.
from location to location with drop kicks and
Yeah, it was just
blaster blasts and everything else.
absolutely. Yeah, it was just so clear in the story that like this was so not a challenge for Baku. like it almost didn't matter. Like you said, he's almost there just to be the punching bag for the cool new form, which is fine. That's cool when you get a cool new form to do. But it's a bummer because it's like, wow, this was a monster that was like haunting Nox. Like it should feel like something that's a bit more substantial, I guess.
So I feel like it's a weird mix of that, but also the fact that like the past two episodes now, like Baku is just defeating childhood nightmares.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Baku's fear thing was him crying in the rain alone, blah blah blah. And even though like we know Nox is a badass cool guy, everything else, like Nox's fear was just I'm afraid of the dark. So I feel like part of it as a kind of like maybe fix for that or solution or explanation is just the fact that like it was just a little kid nightmare that he never got over.
That's fair. Yeah.
So maybe like that's why it wasn't as tough, or Baku is just that motivated, or a mix of the two. But basically, like he helped his buddy who had to sleep with the lights on defeat the scary monster that when you're little and you think there's monsters in the closet, nothing's there. This is
Yeah.
kind of like the monster format vibe of that.
Yeah, it's the Kamen Rider equivalent of turning the light on and looking under the bed and proving that there's no monster there for your kid.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god, my dad's a superhero, and all he did was look under the bed for you. Yeah, totally. That's that's fair. Um, excuse me. After this fight, so after he saves Nox from the monster, destroys it, with the big finish, he's kind of questioning Nox, like, hey, you could have killed me. Like why didn't you hurt me? Like what, basically like what's going on here? Like why did you give me so many warnings and why didn't you kill me when you had the chance? And Nox tells him like essentially, yeah, I hate the organization, but the agent is fine. Like you're okay, but like your organization is crummy. And kind of the answer is like clearly I understood that you didn't know anything, and I'm kind of trying to protect you from them. But then he gives him like a little insult as he walks off, just like, yeah, I couldn't believe how much of an idiot you were, essentially.
I want to
Um,
say that a couple weeks ago we definitely nailed the statement, like from Nox doing other stuff. Was one of the two of us, I forget which one, was definitely like, oh no, this whole thing, like, because Nox could have kicked his ass. I think it was like 2 weeks before he went through the black hole.
yeah,
And one of us said, like, no, like, Nox really doesn't want to have anything bad to do with Baku's, that's whatever. He's just telling him, like, I fucking hate code. You're in front of me. I'm telling you why this all sucks. Because most of Nox's last month-ish of arc now has been, I told you not to use the capsums. The capsums are nightmares. Watch as I break your capsums and show you that they're nightmares.
yeah,
Like, watch as I do this to you. Well, I don't really hurt you, but I'm going to stop you from trying to help them. This is all fucking garbage. And at least, like, that feels good that we called that one right. If one of a few things maybe this year. But it felt good that, like, they did a good enough job where we couldn't really tell. But it definitely seemed they were pitching Nox as, no, I don't dislike Agent 7. I just dislike code. And
yeah,
that was right.
yeah. We were definitely spot on that one for sure. It seems now. Also in the real world, as this fight is happening, our two police friends are still trying to track down Um, still trying to track down Nox in the real world, and everything turns to dark again, as we've seen in the past episode here. And it turns to dark. They see something up in the sky, and they track it to a campsite, I guess, with like various cabins. One of the cabins is roped off. They go in, and they see a hospital bed. We know as the audience that it's the hospital bed that Nox's body was in mere minutes ago, but now he is woken up. And pretty quickly, Nox comes in, sticks a gun in the back of Fujimi, tells him he's got to do something, and then runs away, erasing the door handle from the door so that they can't follow him. So Nox is up and at 'em now in the real world. He's not simply trapped in the dream world, and he's made sort of his reacquaintance with his former partner.
At least they all know that they're alive again, or
very true.
They've made eye contact with each other, so we at least know that, hey, maybe real world Nox and Fujimi might straighten out his thought process a little bit with Okada, Nox, whatever, not being the best person or not being the person he thought he was. But I thought they did it. I was kind of curious if Nox would be like the piece of shit Nox that he was in the dream world.
Yeah.
Or would kind of like just be a cool, happy guy and do something else when he came back to life. And I guess I was more surprised than not surprised. But I was kind of shocked that like he was just angry and was like, I have shit to do. Yeah. Everyone get away from me. I don't care that you missed me for 2 years and couldn't find me, or a year, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because we definitely see like a different Baku in and out of the dream world. Like he's definitely posturing when he's the secret agent, and then we get to see his like real self when he wakes up. But like you're right, they are very different. So it's interesting that like Nox is sort of just Nox, kind of, it seems like in the dream world, or not.
He's just out of his IV drip coma.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course we get to end with like a head scratcher and end with an introduction. So Nox is now clad in a full black outfit. We mostly had seen him in white up until now. Now he's dressed in black, and he walks into this kind of mysterious room, and we see a woman looking out the window. She greets Nox, and he greets her back and calls her the lady, and he says it in English.
What a good name.
Yeah, hello, the lady. The lady asks him how it feels to wake up, and he kind of tells her like, yeah, it feels like the same. It feels like a dream still. He can't tell the difference. And then she has kind of a one of those like dream butterflies flies by, and she's like, I wonder if that's a human dreaming of a butterfly or a butterfly dreaming of a human. Yeah, basically then she has sort of the thesis statement at the end when her face is finally revealed, and she wants to eliminate code. She wants a world with no code in it. So clearly Nox then has, he has an associate who also hates code. However, again, they don't come off as like good guys here necessarily, right? Like, she's pretty creepy. She's dressed in all black. Nox is now dressed in all black. Like, it still is kind of hard to tell who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, like she basically lives in an outer space butterfly garden. Like the outdoor of their little castle room, whatever they're in, is super bright, colorful. All the dream butterflies are chilling out there. And of all the things that I expected the Nox like back to life swerve to be, was not him reporting back to his own Zero and being like, yep, code still sucks. Do you still want to go kill him? Kind of vibe. But apparently here we are. Like, I was stoked that like out of nowhere, but it's here now. Like, we actually got the villain that you and I were asking for, or at least like there hasn't really been an actual like villain story necessarily yet, or like a big bad for the other side. And now we basically met like the Zero of the dark side kind of deal.
Totally.
Or presumably what will be like the Zero of the dark side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it seems like this is the setting up the big bad, at least for the next little bit, or someone, pulling the strings for the next little bit. I had kind of like my fan theory, I guess, of what would happen to Nox after these episodes. originally was like, it seemed like the writing was on the wall that like Nox is going to be a good guy, right? Like we're going to get through our disagreements, we're going to reveal what's happening with Code and what the real nature of Code is, and then Baku and Nox are working together. The end of this episode, though, feels very much like Baku and Nox are going to continue to be at odds. Like they might have a mutual, a mutual agreement. They might sort of like admire each other, or at least have like a "I'm not going to hurt you, you don't hurt me" type thing for a little bit. But they're still at very very much odds with each other. Like Baku seems like he is not going to denounce Code completely. And of course, Nox is still working with the lady who wants Code to be destroyed. So it certainly doesn't seem like it's going that way. That Nox is suddenly going to be a good guy and everything's great, and we're a buddy cop movie now all of a sudden.
I guess I didn't know what Nox was going to do. I guess I didn't expect him to not be Dream Nox at the end of the first arc.
Yeah.
So I guess I never thought farther past of what would happen if they stopped Nox's problem. And now that he stopped Nox's problem, I had no idea where it was going to go until he showed up with the new lady and was just like, hey, let's still get rid of Code, right?
Yeah. I think they've done a great job here of making Nox be a very sympathetic character. Like everything that they've told me about Nox so far, I'm like on his side. I want him to win. I think, I agree with him on stuff. But they're still also presenting him as like a mysterious, dangerous character too. And I think that that's probably a hard line to walk, but I think that they're kind of nailing it so far. So I have no idea what they're going to do with him going forward, and I'm really excited to see what they do.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, that's the episode. Let's jump over to emails, which is cast@kamenridersucks.com is the email address there. Once again, that is cast@kamenridersucks.com. And we have an email this week from our friend Shade. Shade is writing in and says, before we get to the case file, Kamen Rider Zeztz and number 1 Sentai Gozooker will be on break for next week. The show will resume after the New Year's. Shade says, hello everyone and welcome to case 15 and 14 of Zeztz. I apologize for missing the email last time. The truth is I've been obsessed with the game called Dispatch and I'm just totally freaking out. Oh, sorry. And I just totally freaking forgot. But there wasn't anything particular in the last case file, so it was fine, I guess. Have you played any Dispatch? I've watched a little bit of it. It looks very cool.
No, I saw everyone was all hyped about it. I was like, quote unquote game of the year shit. I wasn't really sure what kind of game it was. I just saw like anime cutscenes for the times I saw stuff.
Yeah, it's like a visual novel essentially.
Yeah. I went back and forth on was I going to try to play it or not, but then I get too distracted by other things. So I have not really looked into it, kind of deal.
I think I potentially see myself like watching someone play through it in the new year at some point, but because it does look very cool and I've heard good things, but yeah, I haven't touched it myself yet, unfortunately. So the case files for 14 and 15. Shade says 14 features the debut of Zeztz Inazuma Plasma, a form Baku achieved by facing his own nightmare head-on and capturing it into a capsum. Then in episode 15, we get to see Baku use the booster capsum given to him by Zero to transform into the Zeztz Plasma Booster form. But disclaimer, as cool as Plasma Booster is, it seems like it won't be replacing the regular Plasma entirely. Booster, just like in its name, is only a temporary boost for Plasma. So if you like the regular Plasma form, you're in luck because it'll be sticking around a bit longer. I'm not going to lie, Plasma might be one of my favorite first major upgrades for a Kamen Rider in recent years for me. I love how they've been depicting Plasma's abilities in the past 2 episodes. It really makes you feel like Zeztz himself is a lightning bolt. The IRL POV of the fight being a violent lightning storm in the middle of the dark sky, and the rider kick flashing forward like how a lightning strike flashes light. Everything was just chef's kiss. Yeah, that was cool, that effect with the rider kick, where you get to sort of like see Zeztz on the ground like a moment before he actually hits it and connects with the kick. That was a really cool detail.
Yeah.
Shade says, bonus detail I found on the internet. It looks like the suspicious cram school that Baku was in was also present in episode 1. If you look carefully, it's the same building where Baku became Zeztz for the first time. So yeah, where he first henshins and fights the monster from episode 1, they're actually out in front of the same cram school building that they are later. Who's to say if that's actually like intentional or if that's just a shooting location they use all the time? But it's certainly a good catch. Next up, we're introduced to the Shadow Nightmare. This is Nox's own personal nightmare, who has been preventing him from waking up. The Shadow Nightmare seems to represent Nox's fear of darkness, more specifically, the darkness behind code and the nature of the nightmares. In the last episode, Josh mentioned how they framed Baku as if he was a bad guy in certain scenes. And while your theories were very interesting, the existence of the Shadow Nightmare does add a lot of context as to why Baku was shot that way. In this episode, we saw that Nox was an agent who had to face his own nightmare, similar to Baku. But unlike Baku, who was able to embrace his own fear and use it as a newfound power, he wasn't able to defeat his own nightmare. So that shot of Baku where he was standing in the Shadow Nightmare's place was supposed to represent the contrast between the two characters. Baku as someone who overcame and embraced the darkness, and Nox as someone who was afraid and rejected the darkness. Well, that's how I personally saw it, at least. I think now that we've seen these two episodes, I think that's probably a pretty good read of what was happening last time around. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The blog also talks about the scene where Nox throws his ring away. The scene was director Kame Horiyuchi, the main director's idea, and it signifies Nox breaking away from the person he was before when he was held captive by the nightmare. Many of the props worn by the characters also have meanings to them, so please pay attention to the details of each character. And yeah, that ring's certainly interesting. They keep showing the inside of it, and it has like
the little twisty world. Yeah,
it has like a little fidget on the inside of the ring, and they've definitely made sure to like zoom in on that and show that to us multiple times. Shade goes on to say at the end, we're also introduced to a mysterious woman named the Lady. In classic villain fashion, she delivers an ominous monologue about dreams, reality, and butterflies. But what you probably don't know is that in the story, her monologue originated from a philosophical dream theory. I found someone who's a lot more educated on this topic than I am, so I'll be copying and pasting their post here. Quote, the lady's rambling monologue about butterflies is a direct reference to a story from the Zhuangzi, one of the foundational texts of Taoism. The butterfly dream is as follows. Once Zheng Zhao dreamed he was a butterfly flitting and fluttering about, happy with himself and doing as he pleased. He didn't know that he was Zhuang Zhao. Suddenly, he woke up, and there he was, a solid and unmistakable Zheng Zhao. But he didn't know if he was the Zhuang Zhao who had dreamt he was a butterfly, or if he was a butterfly dreaming that he was Zheng Zhao. Between him and the butterfly, there must be some distinction. This is called the transformation of things. In the passage, Zhuang Zhao plays with the theme of transformation, illustrating the distinction between waking and dreaming is another false dichotomy. If one distinguishes them, how can one tell if one is now dreaming or awake? Shade says, judging from what we've seen in the show so far, I think we can guess what the lady really wants and why she wants code out of the way so badly. That's interesting that they're actually getting into like Taoist philosophy. Yeah, that's crazy. And then Shade sends us behind the scenes photos. We've got the director directing Baku how to henshin. We've got Nem hanging out in the rain. We've got Minami and Zero. It appears as if she's telling Zero sorry after having slapped him. And then a couple other shots. Shade says, now for some news and tidbits. Nox's actor Yuki Furukawa recently did another English Q&A for international fans. Funnily enough, half the questions are just people wondering how he looks so young. He recently turned 38. But he did talk about how Kamen Rider Zeztz is a little bit... he did talk about Kamen Rider Zeztz a little near the end of the Q&A. He said, quote, I would really like my international fans to watch Kamen Rider Zeztz. I've been filming this for the last 11 to 12 months. I am playing the role of Nox, and it's becoming one of my favorite characters. One of my favorite characters I've done in the last 15 years. I really enjoyed filming Kamen Rider because the staff members, the directors, the stunt actors, etc., everybody is very professional. They have lots of love and passion for the show, and to make the show a great TV drama, I love their dedication. It's not just that I got a really good role as Nox. I really liked filming this because of the staff's professionalism, and I was moved by how they film and make the Kamen Rider series. That's cool. Yeah, I like that he's doing like English Q&A. Like that's pretty rad.
Yeah, especially for how hard they're trying to make this the global show this time. I think having someone like him being able to do such things
Yeah.
is definitely beneficial to spreading the fun, because there's tons of like, with all the crazy Japanese bands and stuff I always like listening to, whenever they post behind the scenes stuff, there's rarely subtitles. They're obviously not speaking English, nor do I expect them to. But there's like a weird barrier then of like, oh, it seems like you're all having fun or bullshitting about fun stuff, and I just have to sit here and not know what's going on. So having your main like anti-hero be able to communicate with the entire world, or a way larger swath than just Japanese speaking people, I think is huge for the globalization stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You have to imagine, like, in future series, like, that probably will play more of a role in casting, I would imagine, right? Like, if we're deciding between two people who are going to be Kamen Rider and one of them also speaks fluent English and the other one doesn't, maybe we're picking the English speaker because he can, reach across the ocean and draw in some fans. Who knows? But yeah, hopefully they continue to grow this kind of like outreach to the West, and we do start to see more of these things like this in English and kind of behind the scenes stuff for us, because yeah, I love getting to see that stuff, and it's nice when we get included as well. Shade links us a video for an indie tokusatsu film called Ikazuchi Heroes. Shade says he recently came across it. They recently announced they've added English subtitles, so do check out the film to support some indie projects. So yeah, that's cool. I will check that out. Ikazuchi Heroes, Ikazuchi is what that is, if anyone's looking it up. Shade goes on and says, next up is some Sentai trivia, because the next episode of Goes Yuger has something special in it, and you'll appreciate it more if you know what it means. In the next episode of Goes Yuger, a brand new original Red Ranger named Origa Red will be making his first ever appearance. This origami-themed ranger was originally created by a child who won an original Sentai character design contest. The winning design will be made into a real suit and get featured on an episode of Number 1 Sentai Goes Yuger, which is the next episode. I think this is a wonderful concept for a Red Ranger purely because of how wonderful it is. If you really think about it, Origa Red will be the last and final Red Ranger for the next 10 years or so at least. So to have the last Red Ranger be a creation of a child's imagination is such a poetic way to go out. Yeah, that's very cool. And Shade sends a picture of the Ranger, both in the drawing form and the final form, and it's very cool. They captured the child's drawing perfectly, and it looks very neat.
Yeah, they did it. I made the joke because someone posted in the Discord earlier, and when I guess they're doing it again now, but years and years and years and years ago, Nintendo Power used to draw your own Mega Man villains with like their whole little name, style, weapon, and whatever. And I could have swore they used those a handful of times to put villains in the games. So for me, a Mega Man kid growing up, this hit all the right, a little emotional strings, I guess. I thought it was cool. Like someone actually got to do the same thing for a massively popular TV show as well.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. Yeah, that's very cool. And I'm glad that we know about that before watching the episode. Yeah. Shade goes on to say, finally, to end this eventful week, we have our first official look at Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. Of course, to catch everyone up, Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity is the first season in the new Project Red, which is kind of the replacement for Super Sentai. So we got some blurry magazine scans of the characters. So if you want to see these, go look them up, because they're worth looking at, I think. But we have Gavan Infinity, who is our red hero. We've seen, stills of him before. Gavan Bushido is our blue hero. Blue and silver, I guess I should say. And Gavan Luminous is our gold hero. And then finally, we have Cosmo Gavarian Mecha, who is the robot buddy that they'll be hanging out with.
Everyone needs a robot buddy.
Everyone does need a robot buddy. Shade says, ironically, Gavan Infinity himself is my least favorite design from the bunch, and I think that I have to agree. I think that Bushido and Luminous are very cool looking, and I think there's something cheap and plasticky about Gavon Infinity and his red armor, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I'll have to see it in motion. But yeah, for sure, I think right now the other two are my favorite of the three. But I think really more than anything, it kind of just looks like a Sentai. Like, you know, they look they mostly look like you got a little bit more adventurous than normal when you were designing the Ranger suits. You know, it's like, oh, you really went out there this time to make the Blue Ranger. And, yeah, like, okay, cool. So yeah, so far, you know, the name changed, but it feels like we're still kind of in the same spirit, I guess. Shane says that's all we have to cover today. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a good New Year, everybody. Bye bye. Shade, thanks very much for the email and all the information. Lots to go over this week for sure. And again, that email address, if you want to send in an email like Shade did, is cast@kamenridersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@kamenridersucks.com. Yeah. So, Toby, why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
For me, you can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol. You can find the show on Blue Sky as well, which is at kamenridersucks.com. And of course, please check out our Patreon. You can find that at patreon.com/thecommentwriters. For $3 a month, you get access to all of our bonus content, all of our watch-along series where we watch various Sentai series. Right now, we're watching Dawn Brothers and Goes Yuger. So if you want to see us react to the child designed Red Ranger coming up, sign up now, and we'll be getting to that episode very soon. You can also watch all of our back episodes that we've ever posted. Ton of content up there right now, and you get access to the Discord too. But if you don't want to shell out the money, we get it. You can follow the Patreon for free, and you get access to the first 3 episodes of every series that we've posted. So you can kind of sample it before you decide to drop the actual cash to sign up. So once again, patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that. So yeah, that is going to do it for this week for us, and I guess it's going to do it for the show, at least until the new year. So we hope you join us back for that to see the continued adventures of Zeztz and of Nox, and
of us.
And of us as well. Yeah. So once again, happy holidays for whatever you celebrate. Hopefully you have a wonderful end of the year. And yeah, come back to the Comment Writers for more common writing next year. Peace, everybody.